Good morning. It's Friday, March 14th. Today I want to talk about something that has been going on for way too long, and it's the war in Israel. And according to international law, it is Hamas's job as Gaza's ruler to provide the sustenance for its people. And many do not understand that. And Israel has been put under maximum pressure to continue beating its enemy, Hamas. Israel just recently ordered a complete halt to all aid coming into the Gaza Strip. And of course, the United Nations and the humanitarian organizations that exist have accused it of violating all the international laws. And Kenneth Roth, the former head of the Human Rights Watch, said Israel's threat to cut off all the aid is a resumption of a war crimes authorization strategy. Well, Israel isn't responsible for feeding those people. Hamas is responsible. Under international law, Israel is not bound morally or obligated to provide any sustenance. The Israeli government suspended aid to persuade Hamas to release the hostages. Those hostages have been in Hamas's so-called care for 17 months. That's a flagrant violation of international humanitarian law. And what's more, it is Hamas who is starving the Gazans. It's Hamas's job under international law as Gaza's ruler to provide the sustenance for its people. Instead, Hamas hijacks the humanitarian aid and uses it to feed its fighters and sustain itself through black market trade, rather than feeding its population. And Israel has until now facilitated the delivery of bountiful aid into the coastal enclave, and is enough food to feed Gazans for 6 months or more. And that's according to the Israeli assessment. In addition to suspending aid, Israel has upped the ante by cutting off Gaza's electricity supply to exert maximum pressure on Hamas to release the hostages. If Hamas continues to refuse to release hostages, the Israeli government is considering moving all Gazan civilians out of the northern part of the enclave. And then, as a last resort, Israel will return to the armed conflict with 50,000 troops, so to speak. It's Israel's immediate goal to prevent the Iranian-backed terrorist group to continue to use the humanitarian aid to take care of itself while ensuring that the Gazan civilians still have access in full compliance with international law. But that's not happening now. Israel's strategic goal is to eradicate Hamas by killing its operatives in substantial numbers, destroying its weapons and removing it from power within the coastal enclave. You know, Hamas has the power to restore aid and electricity to the Gaza Strip. All it has to do is agree to phase 1 of the current ceasefire. That's per the U.S. proposal, which calls for freeing of the additional hostages, and preferably all remaining hostages, and forcing the terrorist group to surrender. And that would bring an end to the war, and then end to the Gazan suffering. But they're not moving quickly in that direction. They want this war to continue. They do not want to release hostages. They are acting in total opposition to what they can do to end the war. So we have the United Nations falsely accusing Israel of violating the international law and starving the Hamas and the Gazans. And Tom Fletcher, the UN Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs, wrote on X, international humanitarian law is clear. We must be allowed access to deliver vital life-saving aid. And similarly, the aid organization Oxfam claimed that halting aid to Gaza was explicitly prohibited under international humanitarian law. But when you look at this closely, you will see that Hamas's failure to feed its people and to release the civilian hostages are the true violations of international law. Hamas itself has the chutzpah of accusing the Jewish state of violating international law by saying the decision to suspend humanitarian aid is blackmail, a war crime, and a blatant coup against the ceasefire agreement. But it's not illegal for Israel to suspend aid. It's Hamas's job under international law to sustain its population. It's not Israel's job to allow humanitarian aid to flow unless the defender steals it. Hamas's stealing of the aid compels Israel to stop delivering it. So this is a situation that no matter what occurs, Israel will always be blamed for the problem. Israel's not responsible for Gaza's sustenance. Israel has delivered more than 1 million tons of aid up until January 17th, 2025. And since the ceasefire began, more than 25,000 trucks carrying food, water, and medicine have entered the strip. But when they take pictures and clips of the market, you will see that the Gaza stocks food around on the internet. The bottom line is, aid is Hamas's lifeblood. Hamas steals the aid, eats it, uses it, then sells the remainder to merchants on the black market, who in turn sell it to ordinary Gazans at exorbitant prices. If the Gazans are going hungry, it's Hamas depriving them of food, not Israel. So I leave you with this mixed up, confused situation. And remember that no matter what happens, the Jew, Israel, will always be blamed for it. That's what anti-Semitism is all about. Have a great day. Bye.